Hello everybody, welcome back. Today I would like to share a little bit about the astral field and about astral projection, about astral traveling, because in my own personal experience, this is something that I have never really resonated with, and I couldn't really understand why until recently. It all made sense, and I hope that by addressing this in this video, it would speak to some or maybe even many of you that would resonate with what I am saying or have had similar experiences or feelings, and hopefully this will make you feel that nothing is wrong with you and that you are just configured differently and are not meant to experience what people usually share conventionally about astral traveling and astral projection. This also extends to different areas of life, not just about astral traveling or not just about spirituality in general. It's just even life, like the very human life. So I just want to open this space by sharing a little bit of how I feel about astral traveling, or just the idea of astral traveling. Because for me, when I hear people talk about them having out-of-body experiences, and in a sense how people usually describe these out-of-body experiences is like them popping out of their body and seeing their human body lying down, or seeing their human body sitting down in meditation, and then having the ability to like fly through different dimensions or just space in general, and remote viewing or seeing things. First of all, I always knew, and it is a fact, that when I'm sleeping, or when every one of us, when we're sleeping, our soul or our astral body, or this bridge body that is bridging the physical to the subtle realms and to the higher dimensions, this bridge body that is in a sense invisible, it's not really seen by the naked eyes, but still very much connected to our physical bodies. People usually call it like the silver cord or something, like there's a cord that is connecting this body, this subtle body, this bridge body, this astral body to the physical body. So when we're dreaming, for instance, we technically are actually astral traveling. When we're meditating and we're being brought to different spaces, we are actually also traveling. So it is not a fixed way of, oh, it needs to feel like I popped out of my body and then I can see myself and I'm aware that I'm out of my body and I'm traveling and I know where I want to travel to. Like that can be the experience for certain people, but it is not the experience for everybody, and it is certainly not the experience for me. However, how I came to realization with a lot of these things is that there was one day I was meditating, and it was very clear to me that my consciousness or my subtle body was being put into, or it arrived in a space. And I knew where the space was. I could feel the energies and the frequencies and also the emotions that were attached to this space. And that was when I realized, oh, this is actually also what people call astral traveling, even though I didn't pop out of my body and I didn't see and observe myself sitting there meditating, and I didn't consciously control or direct my experience to go to this space, but I did travel there, and it was very real. So I want to break down this and why I wouldn't recommend, or I don't even know if the word is recommend, but I wouldn't suggest, or if people were to come to me and ask how to astral project and how to astral travel, and they want to, see certain things, or they want to know certain things, I wouldn't actively encourage people to astral travel, because there are so many different layers in the astral field. So now we're gonna dive into a little bit more about the technicalities of the astral plane and why it is easy to get stuck in lower astral planes, and how some people have fearful experiences or not very nice experiences with astral traveling in lower astral planes. For example, sleep paralysis is one, and how to be able to astral travel and not get stuck in these lower planes. So basically, when we talk about the astral plane, in very, very simplified way of explaining it, we have our 3D, right? We have this reality where we can touch, we can sense, we can see, we can smell, we can taste. All these senses are very third dimensional. And then there are different levels, not in a hierarchical way, but it is just what it is. Just like how, different radio stations have different frequencies, and it doesn't mean that if this frequency is higher, then this radio station is better. Like, no, it is just what it is. So with the astral plane, we can't see it with the naked eyes, but it is very much there. And there are fields in the astral plane that have lower frequency, lower density, and then obviously, different levels of it. And then there are planes that are of higher frequencies, the higher dimensional planes. And then at the end of the day, this all-encompassing thing is what people call the 0-point field, pre-source, pre-creation, where there's no duality, no polarity, and it is just one. So you can now see that there are different levels of these frequencies within this bandwidth, or in general, this different dimensions that have different frequency densities. So when we talk about astral traveling and why, if someone comes to me and asks me, oh, I'm interested in astral traveling just for fun, like I want to see what's there and I want to see what's, just curious, I wouldn't recommend them to actually do it, because why? Once you understand that there are different levels of frequency, that there are lower density frequencies and that there are higher density frequencies, as such, they manifest as lower density things, beings, and also higher density things and beings. In general, 3D humans, at the moment, we are running a lot of frequencies that are, I would say, not very high. If you are tuned in, if you can feel, if you are sensitive to these energies, and when you tap into the collective field, you can feel that for most people, a lot are still running frequencies of fear. There is a lot of anxiety around people. There's a lot of fear. There is a lot of emotions like jealousy, like hatred, like just all these emotions, more than there are higher frequencies emotions. Doesn't mean that there aren't any, but just when we talk about collectively, for example, when we take the median or the average number, right? There are people who are in the higher bandwidths, and then there are people at the lower bandwidths. And it's, again, it is not who's better or who's worse. It is just what it is. And because collectively, or generally, we are, as humans, very conditioned to run programmings that are of lower, or run emotions, run thoughts that are of lower frequencies, and things like, what if this person betrays me? Or, I don't have enough of this, I don't have enough of that. What if I starve? What if I die? And, what if this thing leaves me? What if, there's just so much fear around this what if. So for a person who has not practiced enough, and by practice I don't mean any modality in particular, but just personal cultivation, like having a personal practice of whatever it is, breath work, or sitting in silence, meditation, or whether you have a lineage that you are initiated into, that you are learning from, all these things that you cultivate within yourself every single day, not just when you feel like it, every day with commitment. You do it. When a person doesn't have that anchor point, and when a person is very sucked into the what you call matrix, or what we call the matrix, that level of frequency that we run is going to affect where we get projected into the astral field. So if there is, generally there's just a lot of these fear-based thoughts in the field, right? So when a person who is not yet rooted and anchored into their own practice, into their own essence, into their own truth, it is very easy to get stuck in this field, in this lower astral planes, and not be able to see through that illusion and transcend into the higher astral planes. And so that is the reason why I wouldn't recommend it to someone who is just curious and is really just stepping into this path. But this also doesn't mean to fear these planes, because at the end of the day, it is just frequency, it is just energy. And that is why I again mention that rooting into your truth, or the truth of this reality, is so important. Otherwise, it's easy to get pulled into these different directions and into these different states. Now I want to talk about what some of you, or many of you, would probably resonate with, or that is your experience, and you also never really resonated with a lot of mainstream topics or mainstream spiritual teachings, such as like the 7 chakras or how people usually talk about the functions of certain deities and gods and goddesses. That never really set with you, but there is no words to really explain why, and you just took it on, perhaps just because you couldn't put into words what you were feeling was not true to you, and because everybody is following this mainstream idea, this mainstream teaching, and therefore you're like, okay, perhaps this is what it is, and then you try to learn it. But then even after you learned it, there's still something that is not embodied within you. And let me tell you that does not mean that something is not right with you, or that there's something wrong with you, or that you are not normal. It just means that you are configured differently. There is a group of people who are master architects of the New Earth template. And these people that are born in this time period right now that's very important for humanity's evolution and planetary evolution is that they embody whatever they created, like the template, the New Earth template that they created. These people might not even know that they are architects of these templates, but they are, and they have an unexplainable desire or certain actions to do certain things that are very unconventional, but they just can't explain why. And if people try to ask them to justify and validate what they're doing that makes sense, they just can't. It's like, I just know that I need to be here, I just know I need to do this now, or for however many years, or for whatever time period, and I just need to do that, and that is it. But I can't tell you what is the reason until maybe one day I come to realization, like now, then I can share it. Having said that, these people or these beings that are incarnated into this human experience, into this human body, they are very much very, very connected to source. And that doesn't mean that the rest of the people aren't, but it's just naturally how these people are configured, and it just means that it's easier for them to connect directly to this pure source. So perhaps you are channeling, but you don't even know who you're channeling, and you don't even have a name for who you're channeling, and most of the time it just feels like you're tuning into something that is also yourself, but it is something beyond yourself. But it is not a god, it is not a goddess, it is not an extra-dimensional being. It is just this field, and it is so pure. And even if you don't have the name of this thing that you are tuning into and channeling, it doesn't make you any less legit. Because I feel like, and I had this conversation with my friend, we've become so accustomed to saying, oh, my guides told me this, my guides told me that, my guides said this and that, and this channeled from my guides, and this channeled from the Pleiades, and this channeled from, I don't know, whatever. And that suddenly makes us feel more legitimate. And if there is no particular being that is guiding this thing, then it suddenly feels less legitimate. But no, because what you're tuning into is actually pure source. Source might not even be the word, right? The 0 point field, this pre-source, pre-creation, this void. And we are all made of that. We're all made from that. We all originated from that. All things, all beings originated from that. Even planets, even celestial bodies, everything, the universe is from this void. So obviously we're all connected to it, but then some of us are just, in a sense, we can tune into it more easily than others who perhaps have more layers to dissolve before bridging that connection. So most master architects are very connected to the own templates that they have created. And personally for me, this New Earth template that I embody, the way that I guess bring it forth to this dimension, this realm, is through my own embodiment of these templates. So it's very much a new way of living, a new way of even having like a business. The word business doesn't even resonate with me. I don't see what I'm doing here as my job. Job doesn't resonate with me. Work doesn't resonate with me. Business doesn't resonate with me. Yeah, maybe service, but even this service, just this in general, how my day-to-day life is. I think most people have this idea that at this time I need to be doing this, and then what is productive, what is not productive, where do I need to be, how can I do my work, how can I be of service. Like there's a lot of this still unspoken and very subtle programmings that are within us, and every day I am just dissolving this, realizing it, and then dissolving it, realizing it, dissolving it, and that is my way of anchoring it into this plane. And I also recently realized that there are specific spots on Earth, like this 3D Earth, that is like an incubator. So it is very nurturing for the New Earth templates, and Bali being one of the spots, which now totally makes sense to me. Like in the past, if someone would have asked me, so why are you in Bali? Like, why do you need to be in Bali? You don't even need to, I'm not even holding anything physical here. I don't need to be here. My work is online, except for trips to Egypt. Energetically, I just know that it is the most aligned for me to be here personally. And also now I realized for the incubation of this New Earth templates that is embodied within me, and that I'm literally like moving through every day to dissolve these old societal patternings and whatnot, to really just embody my own way of life, my own way of doing things. So that was a derail, but I think that was very much needed. It is somewhat still connected. Back to this whole astral traveling thing, for people who are very naturally in tune with this pure, untouched, undistorted frequency of source, of 0 point, that is actually the key to safely astral travel, if that makes sense. When you tune into the frequency of this purity, it is non-dual, it is non-polar. There is no good or bad, there is no right or wrong, and things are just happening as it is to show us something, to teach us something. There is always an essence in it. It's whether it's true or false is not even relevant at that stage. So at that point, you literally can see past and see through all the illusions, and therefore at that stage, when you ground, integrate, and embody that in your human state, in this body, in this flesh, even thinking about astral traveling is not relevant at all. Like, that's not the point. You can and you might travel in that state, but that very desire is irrelevant. So in that state, you can be brought to different dimensions, you can be brought to different places to see certain things, to realize certain things. But in that state, that desire actually just dissolves and you're just brought where you need to go. Even if you are brought to a lower dimensional astral plane with a lot of just what I feel is like a pressure cooker. It's like it is so dense that it's just not nice, but you know that that is just a manifestation of energy, and whatever that's happening there, whatever stories, whatever things, again, there is that underlying essence of it. What is that? So you're able to see through that, to tune into that essence of it, so you don't then get stuck in that muggy water. So this is actually related to the previous video and the previous video. So the previous video is an activation of the Merkaba, or the threefold body, and in the video prior to that Merkaba activation video, I very briefly talked about the Merkaba, the three body, because there was a card where I pulled where there was the Merkaba, and that was standing out to me. At that point in time, I couldn't really yet use words to explain it because it wasn't integrated yet and it wasn't really embodied yet, until the next few days, where I really got to understand all of it. And now it makes sense about why ancient civilizations call the Merkaba actually the chariot, where you're able to traverse time space, you're able to travel dimensions when your Merkaba is actually like united. And so very, very briefly, because in that video I remember it was like not very clear whatever I was trying to say, the three body, we have the physical body, and then we have the astral body, or what I like to use like the bridge body, and then we have the limitless body, or we can call it the all-encompassing, we can call it the 0-point body. So there are these three bodies, right? In the Merka, it's the Mer, the Ka, and the Ba. In different traditions, they call it differently. In ancient Egypt, they call it the light body, the soul body, and then the physical body. I don't exactly know which one is which, like respectively, but three of it: light body, soul body, and the physical body. Essentially, the essence of it, it's all the same. This three bodies, it is not about spinning tetrahedrons, it's not about spinning this in whatever chakras. Maybe that works for you, but for me, it's not about that. How to unify this, the unifying key is actually, again, the 0-point body, or the 0-point field. So when we think about it linearly, we think, oh, I need to work through the physical body, and then I need to work through the astral body, I need to work through the soul, I need to work through the subtle body, the bridge body, before I can reach the 0-point. No. Well, that is the old way of doing things, or maybe for a certain configuration that works for them. But for people who are resonating with what I've said until this point, very deeply, right? We are very naturally connected to the 0-point. And for every one of us as in every being, because we're made from the 0-point, there is a portal that we can access to reach that 0-point. And I cannot pinpoint what this portal is for you, or what this portal is different for everybody. And that's why in that video I mentioned, take time to experiment with different modalities, take time to experiment with different meditations, take time to experiment with sitting in silence, or I don't know, what is it, yin yoga, or different traditions. It is when you experiment, then you will know what is right for you, because what works for me might not necessarily be the one that works for you. So experiment with that. Everybody has a portal. You don't have to go through all of these levels, and it is not bypassing. It's simply it, because we're made from it. So there's a portal that we reach that 0-point, and then we travel from a top-down direction, right, relative, not from a down-up. Because if we do it from down-up, it's easy to get stuck in these murky waters. But if we do it from top-down, we already tune into and are able to see through this illusion. And it takes time. It's not that one day I reach it and then, it is like that. No. Because this 0 point is non-polar, but then we are living in polarity, this dichotomy, this irony, this paradox can become very apparent. And that is the case for a lot of people, that the more they dive into spirituality, the more they feel like, oh my God, what is this life, right? And then some have a hard time integrating it. So it takes time to come to your own personal realization. And I can't teach you what is that. I can only pinpoint that, like how I'm pointing out, okay, this is 0 point, like do it from here, do it from here. But then the subtleties and the nuances and the details are for you to experience. So that is your teacher. When you tune into that 0 point, when you tune into that purity, there is this force that will guide you. And don't chase for that force, because it is not how it works. You can't grasp it. You can't hold it. The more you try to at that state, the more it dissipates and the more it, because essentially it's nothing. But the main point is that the unifying key of 3-body, of our physical body, our subtle body, our bridge body, our astral body, and the limitless is actually the limitless itself. And so when we're able to integrate that, when we're able to embody that in our 3D life, it's actually when these 3 bodies unify. It doesn't just unify in a meditation. We call it Earth School for a reason, right? So every day of your life, every situation, every experience is the homework, is the test. The unification then becomes like, what I see in my vision is like a ball of light around you that is like spinning, and you're in it, and you're able to traverse time, space, to do whatever you need to do. So that is pretty much whatever that I desire to share, and that's coming through to share with all of you. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comment section below how it was for you, and if you have anything you would like to share. Last but not least, this is actually linked to a container, a group container, like a mastermind that I have been receiving for I don't know how many months now. Ever since there was the diamond heart came to me, I knew that there is something that is coming up. It doesn't feel very much ready yet, and I don't know how long it would take. So what I do know is that it is going to be a group container. It is going to be a group mastermind for however many months that it will be, and I will be guiding you through concepts like this, activations like the transmission that you received in the previous video, the Merkaba transmission, and then group calls for every topic or for every theme that we'll go through. So there is a waitlist open, and I haven't put that link for a long time, but I'll put it in the description box below. If you feel resonant with it, feel free to sign up for the waitlist. At the moment I don't have any details, but when I do, people who are on the waitlist will be the first to receive the news. So yes, that is it. Thank you so much for tuning in and for receiving all of this. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.